Hello, friends. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of attending the inaugural PWHL game in Toronto with the Toronto team facing the New York team. And one of the reasons why I bought season tickets for the PWHL and wanted to go to this game in particular is just because of the milestone and the historic significance of this professional women's hockey league starting up. Um, I have a daughter who played sports her entire life growing up and still plays some intramural sports at university. And um, I just wanted to be part of an historic event like this. They had Billie Jean King um, do the ceremonial puck drop at the beginning and give a message. And in fact, I think some of that messaging and some of the significance of this game actually um, was at play in terms of the Toronto team losing 4-0 to New York. And what I mean by that is, uh, when you watch the media and you think about the significance of this event, then the Toronto team being the home team, the first game in this new league at home, representing your fans, your family. Um, there could be a lot of pressure that you put on yourself as an athlete and as a team. And New York, even though they were part of the same event, being on the road, not in front of their home fans, um, I think they just had a much freer game than the Toronto team. The Toronto team, they worked their butts off. They skated hard, particularly in the second period. They really took it to New York, but just couldn't bury the puck. And so, unfortunately, they didn't score. But all the media around this is the first game. It's the first goal ever scored in the PWHL. It's the first win, the first loss, the first shutout, the first penalty, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of firsts with it being the first game, of course. And when you add all those firsts up, I can imagine that the players and the coaches uh, would get a busy mind, get a head full of thinking, and they want it so bad. They wanted this league for so many years, what it represents for young women everywhere, and for all the women that came before them in sport, and to be on this big stage with national television audiences and just all the hype around the launch of this league. And I can certainly see how that pressure may have gotten to them. And it got me thinking, how interesting just the concept of pressure itself is, because whether it's, in sports like this or in our personal lives or our jobs, we often, somebody would say, oh, that was a pressure packed moment, or there's a lot of pressure on the team. And people would nod in full agreement. Oh, yeah, that, as if it was a real thing, tangible, that you could touch it. People would argue that you can feel it. You could feel the tension and the pressure in the air. But the interesting thing is, it's not real. It's 100% made up. It's a function of our neurology and of our thinking that creates those feelings in our physical bodies, and manifests itself as what we describe as pressure. Um, but it's 100% just thought, just made up. And, to me as a coach, getting people in touch with the nature of thought and awareness of the nature of thought, that when you're having those thoughts and those feelings in those pressure packed moments, I often think about an example would be like a Tiger Woods standing over a putt to win $10 million at the FedEx Cup. And outsiders would look at that and say, that is a pressure packed putt. But if you were to interview Tiger at the end, when he sinks that 6-footer to win $10 million, in the moment, he wasn't feeling pressure. There wasn't millions of people watching him on television and thousands of people gathered around that green watching him putt. It was just him and 6 feet of grass and the ball in the hole. And he just puts it in casually, like none of that other stuff's going on. And that's what makes him such a special player. The ability to reduce everything down to the simplicity of just being in the present moment. Anyway, glad to be at that first game. and I'll be glad to be at the second game on the 13th, and so on and so forth. Looking forward to seeing Toronto win and just enjoying the atmosphere and the joy of the game, and watching all the young people there enjoy it and having a chance to see their role models, their idols play professional hockey. Till next time, go unleash your potential.